The dollar is our currency, but it's your problem. John Connolly, Treasury Secretary under President Nixon. It's a good thing people don't understand how money and the banking system work. If they did, there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. Henry Ford. When slavery was abolished, the rich created paychecks. A paycheck is one of the most powerful tools ever created by man. The person who signs the paycheck has the power to enslave another person's body, mind, and soul. Robert Kiyosaki. The dollar, Mom, it's not just America's currency, but the world's currency, and therefore the world's problem. Could the state of the dollar or the rising global inflation lead to a financial crisis in the future? What can we do to understand the situation and prepare for a potential global crisis? How can we navigate the money game that the rich play? Robert Kiyosaki, who predicted the 2008 crisis and amassed great wealth during that period, recently stated, "The biggest crisis in world history is coming. The good news is that the best time to get rich is before a crisis." Most people still believe that the path to wealth is getting a diploma, finding a good job, and working hard. But does a high-paying job truly make you rich? If you think so, you may be making a mistake. Because the financial system was not built this way. The system is designed to make the poor poorer and the rich richer. Most people live paycheck to paycheck, drowning in credit card debt. And just to escape from their jobs, bills, fears, and financial troubles, they go on vacation. In this video, we will analyze Robert Kiyosaki's book, Second Chance, in light of current developments. This will not only cover his perspective on the future of the dollar, but also his investment methodology and what it takes to become wealthy. From a Turkish perspective, it might seem like the dollar is constantly rising against the lira. However, the real focus should be on the purchasing power of money. This chart illustrates how the purchasing power of the dollar has declined over the years. For instance, in 1913, $1 had the same purchasing power as approximately $30 today. The reason? Inflation and America's money printing. It wouldn't be wrong to say that the biggest power of the U.S. is having the dollar as the world's reserve currency. The U.S. runs the largest trade deficit globally, yet this is not as big of an issue for them as it is for other countries. The deficit with any country such as China can simply be financed with their own currency. Because of this, America doesn't have to hold reserves like other countries do. They possess a power that no other country has. At the end of the day, the dollar is just paper and some ink, or more accurately, a mix of linen and cotton. So how did the dollar become the world's reserve currency? In the first quarter of the 19th century, as paper money became more widespread, England adopted the gold standard. This system was based on countries defining their paper money in terms of a specific weight of pure gold. In other words, if you handed over British pounds, you could receive gold in exchange. Because the British pound was tied to gold, it became widely accepted and turned into the world's most important reserve currency. By the early 20th century, the gold standard had spread internationally. Every banknote issued had a gold backing, meaning people could exchange their money for a fixed amount of gold. During this period, the British pound remained the most prestigious currency, not only because it was backed by gold, but also due to Britain's dominant position in global trade. With World War I, the demand for gold from central banks surged, and the gold backing of paper money was gradually abandoned. Paper money continued to circulate solely based on legal obligation. Although attempts were made to restore the gold standard after the war, they failed. While England struggled to maintain the gold backing of the pound, it ultimately couldn't sustain it. The only country that managed to keep its currency tied to gold was the U.S. As a result, the dollar replaced the pound and gradually rose to become the world's primary currency. The U.S. dollar remained the only currency still backed by gold, strengthening its position over time. However, due to financial and monetary strains caused by the Vietnam War, the U.S. abandoned the gold standard in 1971. By doing so, It joined other economies in printing fiat money without any backing. Until that point, countries that issued fiat money had loosely tied their currencies to gold via the dollar. After 1971, all paper money worldwide became purely fiat currency. Because the dollar had enjoyed a long-standing reputation as a gold-backed currency, it continued to be accepted globally, even after the gold backing was removed. But how long can this situation last? How much longer can America keep the dollar afloat through printing or burning it? Kiyosaki states in his book, it took about 100 years for the dollar to lose 95% of its purchasing power. I doubt it will take another 100 years to lose the last 5%. He argues that if the U.S. keeps printing money, the dollar will eventually hit zero. He warns of an impending crisis bigger than anything seen before. Robert Kiyosaki will be proven right sooner or later. The world has always functioned in cycles, with crises recurring at intervals, some like the Great Depression, lasting longer than others. A wise man was once asked, "When will the world end?" He replied, "Which end?" There are two endings. If my wife dies, it's a small end. If I die, it's the big end. The joke highlights the irony of people theorizing about the end of the world, when in reality, each person's death is their own personal apocalypse. Life is a comedy to those who think and a tragedy to those who feel. Horace Walpole Nasreddin. Hodge's wisdom teaches us that we should prepare before our own end arrives. So whether or not a crisis happens, how should we prepare? Let's focus on that. You won't learn financial education in school. They only teach you how to be poor. There are many different perspectives on wealth, but one thing is certain. Everyone wants to be rich, yet schools teach people how to be poor instead. Traditional education does little to eliminate poverty. Yes, people with degrees generally earn more, but that doesn't make them financially savvy. The modern education system is designed to create employees, taxpayers, and consumers. Kiyosaki claims this system is already collapsing and will eventually disappear. Schools teach us to work for money, but financial education teaches us to acquire assets that generate cash flow. Those who get jobs pay the highest taxes. That's why the rich don't work for money. People who work for money and rely on a paycheck lose much of their wealth through taxes. A high salary executive might seem well off, but considering that nearly 50% of their earnings go to taxes, the appeal quickly fades. Without financial education, people cannot transform knowledge into personal wealth. Knowledge is the greatest power in the world. Today, financial knowledge is more powerful than weapons or even the whips and chains of slavery. The primary cause of inflation is money printing. When money is printed, whether by banks or governments, two things happen. Inflation rises and taxes increase. The system is not designed to make you rich. It is designed to keep you poor and working for money. So who does the system make rich? The rich. Those who do not work for money. Those who control the money game. This is not a new game. The rich have been playing it for a long time. Now, it's your turn to learn the game. This is your second chance.